Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We'll start with the first one. What is Kssm? So Kssm is the short form of Secondary School Standard Curriculum. Kssm concept is presented and approved on JKP meeting on 26 October 2010. Next, in 2014, Kssm content standard is introduced for implementation stage. The last one, Kssm is the continuation of KSSR, which is the curriculum for primary school. Moving on to the objective of Kssm. Okay, so for the first objective is to improve our English language curriculum subject in Malaysian educational system. Okay, so the English language curriculum needs to be improved, and there are few changes that has been made by the Ministry of Education to make the English language curriculum to be better. Okay, so for the second one is to support an accelerated learning pathway for high performing students to master English language. Okay, so when students have a good support system, they will feel more motivated to learn, and this will lead them to perform better. Okay, so the last objective is to reinforce pupils' basic understanding of the English language. Okay, so what I can conclude here is that KSSM focuses more on communication, self-growth, humanity, self-skills, and also moral values. On top of that, KSSM added a few activities like role-playing, stimulations, discussion, and also group assignment. So it is hoped that with KSSM, students will become more engaged to learn in class. Okay, so next we move to the content of KSSM. So KSSM starts in 2017 and it consists of CEFR, which is Common European Framework of References. So CEFR enhance learners' language skills, especially for English language. CEFR also promotes the proficiency of English language among learners, and it is important because it standardized with ways to measure the learners' progress and allowing the teachers to avoid inconsistencies in the measurement of students' level. Other than that, the Malaysian Education Blueprint 2013 until 2015 introduced various teaching strategies to enhance English proficiency of the student. Okay, so what is Malaysian Education Blueprint? Malaysian Education Blueprint is the basic outline to get the learners on tracks and stay there as they fulfill their learning objectives. This blueprint aims to transform the education system in Malaysia and to focus on teaching and learning quality of English language. Malaysian Education Blueprint also provides a comprehensive plan for a rapid and sustainable transformation of our education system. This is the level for the CEFR. For this one, this is the explanation for each level. Moving on to the pedagogy of KSSM. KSSM includes new information and content into the subject, especially for those that revolve around technology. So as we know and as we can see, the world we are living now is full of technology, and KSSM is trying to make use of this technology to make students become more engaged and more participated in class. So other changes include the organisation and management of the curriculum, changes in the pedagogy aspect of teaching and learning, and in the allocation of time for each subject. So as we know, in the past, teachers were required to complete a certain amount of minutes in a week for a subject. So, but for now, it will be completed in minimum hours per year.
Okay, next is the language standard in Kssm Curriculum Standard Sekolah Menengah. It's applied primarily to two core subjects, which is Bahasa Melayu, the national language, and English, the second language. Although other languages like Arabic and Mandarin may also be included in some schools. The focus is to ensure that students are competent in both the national language for identity and unity and English for global communication. Okay, here is more detailed breakdown of the language standard Kssm. First is proficiency in Bahasa Melayu and English. Students should master both languages with emphasis on reading, writing, listening, and speaking. Okay, for the Bahasa Melayu serve as the main language of instruction in Malaysian school and plays a critical role in regional identity and cohesion. The curriculum emphasizes mastery of reading, writing, listening, and speaking. So students are expected to communicate fluently and effectively in both formal and informal settings. Okay, so next is English. English is considered the second language and an important global language. KSSM's language standard aim to ensure that students are capable of using language for international communication and higher education. So the focus is on improving communication competence, for example, fluency and accuracy, covering the four core skills, which is listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Okay, second is effective communication. Effective communication is developing the ability to communicate clearly and confidently in both formal and informal situations. The KSSM emphasizes oral communication as a vital skill, ensuring students are confident speaker in both language, which is Bahasa Melayu and English. For example, activity that can do is presentation, role playing, and group discussion that can help develop this skill. Okay, the third one is critical thinking and literacy. Enhancing the critical thinking through reading comprehension, text analysis, and creative writing. For example, reading comprehension and text analysis are the key elements in both language that encourage students to understand, interpret, and critically engage with what they read. Okay, next is cultural understanding and ethical values. Using language as a tool to promote national values and global citizenship, encouraging ethical and respectful communication. Okay, for example, for Bahasa Melayu is language education in Bahasa Melayu is also about fostering a sense of national identity and unity. Through the language, students are taught about Malaysian culture, tradition, and history, instilling a strong sense of patriotism and respect for culture diversity. Okay, next is English. Through English, literature and discussion, students are exposed to global perspective that helping them become global citizens. They learn about different culture and viewpoints, promoting respect, tolerance, and understanding of others. Okay, the last one is digital and 21st century skill, integrating technology and modern skills into language learning. Central skill in KSSM focus on using technology and modern skills in language learning to help students succeed in today's world. So students use technology like computers and the internet to improve their language skill. From this, it helps them become better at communication and working in a modern digital world. In summary, the language standard in KSSM aim to ensure that students in Malaysia are proficient in multiple languages, with a primary focus on Bahasa Melayu and English, while also encouraging the learning of other languages. The standards reflect a balanced approach to linguistic competence, cultural awareness, and the integration of 21st century skills.
We present the next topic in this slide, which is language curriculum policy. In Malaysia, language curriculum policy are designed to govern the teaching and learning of language in schools, primarily focusing on promoting proficiency in the national language Bahasa Malaysia, while also recognizing the importance of other language due to the country's diverse linguistic landscape. Key aspects of this policy include First, national language emphasis. Malay is prioritized as the official language of instruction, reflecting its status in the national identity. The second one is mother tongue education. Policies support the teaching of mother tongues such as Mandarin and Tamil, particularly in vernacular schools to maintain cultural heritage and linguistic diversity. We move to the third one, English language proficiency. English is emphasized as a second language with initiative aim at enhancing student skills for global communication and access to information. The fourth one, curriculum framework. The Kssm Curriculum Standards Sekolah Menengah outlines the curriculum standards for secondary education focusing on critical thinking, communication skills, and cultural awareness in language learning. Next, assessment and evaluation. Standardized assessments are implemented to evaluate language proficiency, ensuring that students achieve the desired learning outcomes. The last one, cultural integration. Language education incorporates Malaysian cultural values, promoting respect and understanding among different ethnic groups. Overall, this policy aims to equip students with essential language skills, foster unity, and appreciate country-rich cultural diversity.
And we're going to dive into the objective language policy. So number one, we have promote multilingual proficiency. The policy aims to ensure that students become proficient in multiple languages, Bahasa Malaysia, English, in some other cases, Mandarin, and also Tamil, depending on the type of the school. This multilingual approach reflects Malaysia's multicultural identity and prepares students for diverse linguistic environment. Number two, we have ensure national unity and cultural preservation. This is to foster national unity by ensuring a strong command of Bahasa Malaysia, which serves as a common language for all Malaysians. At the same time, the curriculum support the preservation of other students' mother tongue, such as Mandarin or Tamil. This to promote rich cultural heritage within the education system. Number three, we have enhanced communication skill for academic and professional success. The curriculum emphasizes developing strong communication skills, both written and spoken, to prepare students for higher education and the workforce. English is also important as it is widely used in business, higher education, and international communication. Number four, we have support international competitiveness through English proficiency. English is a global language, and Malaysia policy recognizes it important for international competitiveness. By focusing on English language, the policy ensures that Malaysian students are equipped with the skill needed to engage in global economy and participate in international discourse.
Okay, next I'll talk about the types of language policy in Malaysia. The first one is official language policy. In Malaysia, Bahasa Malaysia is the official language under Article 152 of the Federal Constitution. This means that the language is used in all official matters, including government administration, legal proceedings, and communication at the national level. So, the main goal of this policy is to promote national unity by encouraging the use of a common language across different ethnic groups. Given Malaysia's diverse population, Bahasa Malaysia serve as a tool to bridge communication among various communities. Okay, so the government services, legal documents, and national media such as public television and radio broadcasts are primarily conducted in Bahasa Malaysia. So the proficiency in Bahasa Malaysia is required for those wishing to enter public service or participate in politics. While other languages like English are important, especially in commerce and education, Bahasa Malaysia remains the primary language for all official matters. Okay, the second one is language in education policy. Okay, Malaysia's education system primarily uses Bahasa Malaysia as the medium of instruction, particularly in public schools. However, English also plays a significant role, particularly in secondary education and higher learning institutions, especially in teaching subjects like science, mathematics, and technology.
Also, Malaysia allows for vernacular schools that use Mandarin or Tamil as the primary language of instruction for Chinese and Indian communities, respectively. Other than that, they are also introduced to increase proficiency in both Bahasa Malaysia and English. The Dual Language Program, or we call DLP, allows some schools to teach subjects like mathematics and science in English. This aims to improve English literacy, particularly in globalized economy. The policy promotes both national unity through Bahasa Malaysia and global competitiveness through English. Vernacular education also preserves the linguistic and cultural heritage of Malaysia's ethnic minorities while still ensuring that the students learn the national language, fostering a sense of belonging and inclusivity. Okay, the third one is bilingual multilingual policy. Malaysia's multilingual policy reflects its multicultural makeup, acknowledging and supporting the use of multiple languages in various contexts. While Bahasa Malaysia is a national language, English, Chinese dialects like Mandarin, Cantonese, and Hokkien, Tamil and indigenous languages like Iban and Kadasan Dusun are also widely spoken. So, English is considered the second language in Malaysia and it is widely used in business, commerce, and higher education. In fact, many university courses are taught in English, especially in fields like medicine, engineering, and information technology. English is also a compulsory subject in schools and is crucial for Malaysia's participation in global markets and international diplomacy. The Chinese community in Malaysia largely speaks Mandarin or other dialects such as Cantonese or Hokkien, depending on the region. While the Indian community predominantly speaks Tamil, but other Indian languages like Telugu and Malayalam are also preserved through community initiative and temples. So, for this one is, this policy ensures that ethnic minorities can maintain their cultural and linguistic heritage while integrating into Malaysian society. Okay, the last one is linguistic assimilation policy. Okay, while Malaysia promotes multilingualism, there is also an underlying policy of linguistic assimilation, especially when it comes to the use of Bahasa Malaysia. The government emphasized the importance of all citizens, regardless of ethnicity, mastering Bahasa Malaysia to participate fully in public life. So, given Malaysia's colonial history and the ethnic divides it created, linguistic assimilation through the promotion of Bahasa Malaysia is seen as a means of nation building. The idea is that a shared language can foster social cohesion among Malaysia's diverse population. Okay, the focus on Bahasa Malaysia is particularly strong in national and public education systems, government jobs, and public sector opportunities. So, while this policy aims to create a unified national identity, it also sometimes creates tensions, especially among non-Malay speaking communities who may feel that their languages and cultures are being marginalized. For instance, ethnic Chinese and Indian Malaysians are required to be proficient in Bahasa Malaysia for public service roles. Despite this emphasis, Malaysia's commitment to preserving minority languages through vernacular schools and cultural programs demonstrate a balance between assimilation and multiculturalism.
I would like to talk about stage of language policy. So the first stage is colonial period. During British colonization, English was the main language for administration, education, and business, while Malay, Chinese, and Tamil were used in vernacular school. However, English remained key for social advancement and higher education. The second stage is post-independence and the National Language Act. After independence in 1957, Malaysia promoted Malay as a symbol of national unity. The 1967 the National Language Act made Malay the official language, while allowing schools to continue teaching in Chinese, Tamil, and English as a second language. The third stage is the implementation of Bahasa Melayu. In the 1970s, the government strengthened the use of Malay as the main language in administration, education, and law, making it the medium of instruction in schools and university. English medium schools were phased out and proficiency in Malay became crucial for public sector jobs.
The fourth stage is the rise of English as a global language. The Malaysian government reintroduced English for teaching science and mathematics under the PPSMI policy in 2003 to enhance global competitiveness. But it faced opposition and was reversed in 2012. The last one is the dual language program and the current trend. The dual language program, DLP, was introduced in selected schools, allowing students to choose either Malay or English as the medium of instruction for science and mathematics. This reflects Malaysians' attempt to balance the use of Malay for national identity and English for global competitiveness.
Okay, so we'll talk about the components of language policy. So there's three components. The first one is the language management. This component refers to strategies for managing language use, incorporating both institutional and individual methods. So this component highlights the importance of personal agency in developing language proficiency and effective communication. So the second component is the context. Context outlines the location, scope, employment, categories, and also stakeholders in language policy, which emphasizing the need to consider the diverse needs of stakeholders in contexts such as education and also the workplace. So the last component is the language ideology, which this component focuses on beliefs and also attitudes toward language that influence policy decisions and practices. So, language ideologies frequently reflect wider socio-political narratives such as national identity and also the impacts of globalization.